Hello and welcome back to Nomifactory. Since the last episode I progressed quite a bit. I tried to film a lot of it, but the files got corrupted and some of them didn't have sound, so this episode will be a recap of what I've done, and I'll show you how you do some of the processes, but it won't be in real time, it will be after I build it. The first thing that's worth mentioning is that I got creative flight. I got the angel ring here. I made that, and the recipe is rose gold and these jetpacks. And you obviously need the extended crafting table. So I made that. I'll show you how to make that later. For the ripened jetpack here, we needed a prescient crystal. For that we needed the soul binder. Here, the soul binder. And that's what we needed the extended crafting table for, that and the angel ring. The hardest part here was getting the tungsten steel, but I made a setup for that. I'll show you right now. In here we set up a pulverizer which pulverizes endstone down to dust. We then centrifuge it into small piles of tungsten dust, some sand and some platinum, tiny piles of platinum here. From this we get helium, quite a bit of it, and tungsten dust, after we obviously package the small piles into the big piles. Then we go over to one of the arrays I built here. We chemical bath it in hydrochloric acid to get this lithium chloride and something called as tungstic acid dust. With similar of these we electrolyze them into tungsten, and this is a passive process and it has been running for quite a while, so we have 1200 tungsten dust. And we have a mixer next to it so we can make tungsten steel. Tungsten steel is just tungsten dust mixed with steel dust. So that's how I got that. I also made a setup for PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene. It's this setup here. Let's see, in the interface we have oxygen, methane and fluorine. In the first chemical reactor here we mix hydrogen and fluorine to get hydrofluoric acid. The next one is where we mix the tetrafluoroethylene. It's the hydrofluoric acid mixed with chloroform. And here we mix it into PTFE, that's just the tetrafluoroethylene mixed with oxygen. The chloroform we get by mixing chlorine with methane, that gets the chloroform. And I'm pretty sure that we get some hydrochloric acid from that as well, and the hydrochloric acid we can electrolyze into chlorine and hydrogen, which the chlorine is recyclable, and I'm pretty sure the hydrogen you get a surplus of hydrogen. So this is sustainable as long as you have oxygen, methane and fluorine. That's the only inputs in this setup. Here we just fluid solidify it into sheets and into ingots, which we need for large chemical reactors. I built out the base quite a bit. It's just a copy-paste gadget and a building gadget. It didn't take long. As you can see up here, we did quite a few processes. The blast furnace in here, we upgraded the coils to microm so that it would be able to smelt tungsten. Let's see, I set up a setup for red coal here, which is a resonator that gets coal. I need to be careful because if we don't have enough GP in the system, grid power, I can't fly with the Angel Wing. You need the GP for that. I had speed upgrades in the red coal setup before, and I couldn't fly then, so this is just normal. And the GP we get from the water mills over in the old base. Here. That's how we make the GP. Otherwise, the oil setup has been running for quite a while now. So we have a lot of everything. That's very nice. The distillation tower here is still running, so we haven't run out of raw oil. We are using a lot of nitrogen at the moment. So I set up a advanced gas collector here with a centrifuge, which makes us oxygen and nitrogen. I made the room in here a little bit different so that we have 2 rows of simulation chambers and 2 rows of loot chambers. And then above we have another row of simulation chambers, and we will have loot fabricators at one point. These need to be raised because I have a floor with cabling here. So these need to go a floor up. On top here we have a couple of processes. This process over here makes us epoxy, which unlocks the next circuit board for us, which is pretty cool. This pyrolyze oven here makes us phenol. Phenol we have used before, but we need that for epoxy as well. This large chemical reactor here makes, let's see, what do you make? Epichlorohydrin, that's right. And that's propene, chlorine, and something else. Propene, chlorine, water, and some sodium hydroxide dust. Let's see here. Sodium hydroxide, water, propene, chlorine, and a circuit of 23. The water I just get with a infinite water cover, so that works nicely. This large chemical reactor here makes us acetone, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, acetone, which is also needed for epoxy. Here we have the large chemical reactor which makes the epoxy. And that's epichlorohydrin, acetone, phenol, which we make here, and hydrochloric acid, which we make somewhere else and get in high amounts as a byproduct. I think we also get it as a byproduct from epichlorohydrin or acetone, and I'm not quite sure if it's cycles, but we have enough of it, so that's good. The sodium hydroxide dust we get in large amounts from electrolyzing salt water, so that's how we get that. Here I have a setup which makes apatite ore into phosphorus dust. Here there's nothing in the drawer, but it makes phosphorus. We have a macerator which crushes the ore, and then a macerator which crushes the crushed ores. When we pulverize it, we have a chance of this tricalcium phosphate dust, which is needed further down the line. So that's why we do that. We get some byproducts as stone dust and calcium as well. This needs a void drawer. So what I was saying is that we have some byproducts as well. It's important that we void them off so that they don't clog up. These we don't want to void. So yeah. The tricalcium phosphate here is centrifuged. We have some phosphorus in there. That's not meant to go in there. It's centrifuge into phosphate, which goes in here and is electrolyzed into phosphorus. The crushed apatite here, we wash first here, then electrolyze it, and we get phosphate from that as well. And then we electrolyze it again to get more phosphorus. So This gets us a lot of phosphorus with just apatite as a input. The apatite ore we just buy with Nomicoins, it's very cheap at the moment and it lasts a long time. So that's how we get phosphorus. The large chemical reactor here turns, let's see, water, some phosphorus and some oxygen into phosphoric acid. Oh, I need to get used to using the angel wing. Yeah, phosphoric acid here. And we have quite a bit now. And we use that mainly for luminescence here. I'm not sure if it has any uses down the line. It doesn't look like it. No, we mainly use that for luminescence. And luminescence is required to make the extended crafting table here. See, some electrum glowstone plates, black steel plates, and luminescent makes these components. And these components makes the extended crafting table. I'm not sure I showed you this, but besides the fluorine production here, we made a pulsating dust automation, so we could use that for pulsating iron and pulsating meshes, and also a nether quartz setup, which we store a lot of. At the moment we have 131k, but we might upgrade the drawer further because we'll need a lot of nether quartz for making nether stars. Let's just fill it up with upgrades. And this is just the setup that we use in the DML setup as well, the pulsating polymer clay setup. This is a arc furnace that smelts down sand. We electrolyze it into nether quartz, put it in there. And we also make resonant clathrates with it, which we smelt into pulsating dust, and it gets stored in the drawer. And we have some trim here to connect it to the drawer system, so these can be seen by the AA system. The last chemical process I made here is rocket fuel, actually. And that takes, let's see here, nitrogen, chlorine, oxygen, and hydrogen. And that's the inputs. This here is one of the chemicals we make. The first advanced chemical reactor here makes us carbon monoxide, which we put into another chemical reactor with hydrogen to make methanol, which we store. Let's see here. This makes us hypochloric acid with chlorine and water. It gives us diluted hydrochloric acid, but yeah, we just store that and put a storage bus on with a priority of -1000, so it gets used if it's needed somewhere. Yeah, we get this hypochlorous acid. In here, we mix nitrogen and hydrogen to get ammonia. And that's the 3 chemicals needed to make this dimethyl hydrazine 1.1. And that chemical there, 1.1, we mix with oxygen in here and get rocket fuel. And we have 100 buckets of it. Between a lot of episodes, actually a long time ago, I set up this centrifuge here, which centrifuges hydrogen to get deuterium. And some of that deuterium I used to make these microversium ingots in the blast furnace. That's glowstone, redstone, and 2 steel ingots with some deuterium. Gets us 2 microversium ingots. And that we made into projector casings and a basic microverse projector. This we can soon use to make microverse missions. We need this tier 1 microminer And that we can use to get all these ores here: iron, cassiterite, redstone, nickel, uraninite, a lot of ilmenite, which is what we are going for, the scalina, molybdenum, moon turf, which we can centrifuge, pulverize into moon dust, and then centrifuge to get deuterium. And we can also make it into quantum flux, which is needed to send a lot of missions. Let's see here. The hardest part about this is this LV field generator, which needs these manganese phosphide wires. That is made in a blast furnace. And it's mixing phosphorus and manganese, but the phosphorus we have just made a setup for. And it also makes us acid. This should stock up once this fills up and the output has filled up. It has already filled up. Let's see. Let's not stock more than one stack here. And then this should fill up somewhere soon. And we should be able to get the wires. This manganese phosphide here we'll just make in batches. Because in the start here we won't use as much of it as we will later. I think after some pattern making that we can craft up our first microminer here. Let's see, we can at least start the craft, so then the next question is if it will complete it. And it did complete it here. All we need now is our quantum flux, and we need a chest. Let's see here, and the microminer. And then we need to make the projector here. Craft that up. Or we have crafted it up, but we need to build it. And I think I'll put it right here. After a little bit of fiddling around, I managed to make the multi-block here. It just needs maintenance, as always. Like so. The rocket fuel is easy here, that's just an fluid interface with rocket fuel in. And we connect that up to ME. The server is a little slow here. So now we have rocket fuel, and I also connected it to power. So let's see if it works when we put something in it. Let's see, we need a quantum flux, a chest, and the microminer itself. And it did something at least. It takes 25 seconds. It just finished. And we have a lot of ores in the outpost bus. That's so cool. For now, I think we will set up a drawer wall containing these materials here. Most of them we don't really need at the moment because we have DML. But they might become useful at some point. This ilmenite here is probably what we are going to use the most, and maybe also the uraninite for something. Not quite sure yet. Yeah, that might become useful in the near future, but we'll make a drawer wall. I think I want these items on display here so that we can follow how much we have of everything. We do keep a storage bus on it, so we will be able to see it in the ME system, but I think that would be kind of cool. Now we have a drawer wall with all the items we get from the tier 1 here, and I want to try and send one more. I auto-crafted 5 of them. We had quite a bit of resources, so that was not too bad to do. I kind of want to dump them all in there. I'm not sure if this works. I'll start with one. And this one is about to complete. It looks like it dumped all the items into the drawer wall. Yeah, there's nothing left in the output bus. And I fully upgraded all of them, so storage shouldn't become a problem. Let's try and dump every microminer we have in here and see if it doesn't use all of them. So I waited a little, and these all finished. And we have 1,000 ilmenite now. Before we had to buy like half a stack with 2 Nomi quarters, and now we just have 1,000 of them just like that. Very soon we will have to make a ore processing setup so that we macerate them and ore wash them and thermal centrifuge them, but I would have wanted to do that at a higher tier, so we might just do this on demand whenever we need something, but I'm not quite sure yet what I will do. I think to finish up today, I want to send a tier 2 miner as well, so that we can get some radium salt, which is needed for the quantum eyes that we use for EV sensors. And an EV sensor is needed for wireless AE2, and that's really what we want here, so that we don't have to come down to the main level every time. I set the recipe up like this, so I say all of these items give 1 tier 2 miner. The reason I do this is so that it will just, I have an interface here, it will just extract the items into this storage crate, and then we can craft it in the crafting table. I'm not ready to automate it yet, because I don't know how to, so I'll have to watch a tutorial. If every pattern here is made the right way, we should be able to get a tier 2 microminer now, but I will start the craft and see how it goes. Here we go. We have the items in the crate. It obviously won't complete the craft here because it doesn't transport it doesn't actually craft the tier 2 microminer, it only crafts the components. So we'll just cancel the craft. Maybe even see if we can craft one more. We can, let's just craft one more. And we take all the items. And we should be able to just click them in here. Yeah, that's the tier 2 microminer as well. So cool. And now we want to run it. All this needs is 2 quantum flux to run the recipe we want here. I'll just check if there's space enough. There is. I'm not sure what it does if there isn't space. It might just not run. Let's put it in here. 2 flux in the miner. And it runs. Takes 30 seconds. And it should complete any time now. There we go. Let's see here what we got. Yeah, we got all the items that we expected. And these... Oh, sphalerite. That's really nice. We need that. I will make drawers for these as well. And I think I will send one more. And then that will be the end of the episode. Okay, now I set up 9 fully upgraded drawers for the items that we are getting from the tier 2. And we will try and run one more. And see if it extracts into here properly. Let's see here if the output did empty, yeah. And we have all the items that we expected to get. But I think this is a good point to wrap up the episode. I'm sorry it became a little unconventional because it was more of a recap in the first section of the video, and then the last section was a bit more like it used to be. But I hope you enjoyed it anyways, and give me a comment if you want it to be more recaps than Let's Play. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.